Go have your heat stroke.
I was going to
I'll be quiet and drink
ask you about heat stroke.
Heat stroke.
Not Dan's heat stroke.
Yeah, I've had
Not
heat stroke
Dan's
before.
heat stroke,
Okay.
but everything from house pets to cattle can suffer from heat stroke, right?
You're right. You're right. Yeah, if you walk outside, you know, and especially right now, it's getting, and we've kind of come into, you know, part of the year that's getting hotter quicker. I think it seems like in June it would really gotten warm pretty quick, and you know, we kind of expect these kind of temperatures sometimes in July and August.
Yeah.
But you bet, you know, animals can suffer from, you know, heat stress and get sick from it, and in some cases, extreme cases, could, you know, die from it.
Yeah.
And so,
especially chickens. Don't you have a lot of trouble in like chicken houses getting too hot?
chickens, right?
How can you identify that though? How can you identify? Is it different symptoms in all the different animals, or how do you know?
Well, you know, it's
You
kind
just
of.
find them dead.
Well,
We
we
can't
hopefully
help 'em
can catch it before that happens. But you bet, right? There are things that you can look for. You know, in beef cattle, it's kind of difficult to do, but it's very effective. Is to count their respirations per minute. You know, if they're around 80 to 90 respirations per minute, you know, that's probably about moderate.
8 to 9?
80 to 90.
Oh, 89. Oh my gosh, that's
So panting.
rapid.
Basically, if you get out there and your cows are panting.
Right, that's pretty moderate. But if you get into, you know, 120 to 160
respirations?
Right.
My
breaths,
gosh, that's a
breaths
lot.
per minute. Right. And so once you get into 160 breaths per minute on cattle, then you need to start doing
Now cattle, they sweat, right?
They
like
do.
a horse a little bit. Do they pant like a dog to cool off too, or
they
not?
will. They'll breathe through their mouth to cool off, and you know, people will do that too. You know, if you go for a run, you're trying to catch your breath to cool down, plus you know, for the oxygen.
So we're looking for respirations in a cow. What about a horse? Same thing, or?
Yeah, you know, it's kind of across the board. You know, and if you see a dog, of course, dogs and pigs, they can't sweat.
Right.
They don't perspire, so they'll really be panting and breathing hard, and they'll have their tongue hanging out. And you know, if their tongue, you know, turns to more of a red color or something like that, in cases they'll, and you know, it's getting pretty.
And they're probably listless too. They're probably laying around.
Right. Yeah.
At
They'll
that point.
and they'll stagger around if they get into a real bad condition. But you want to try to take steps.
Should you cool them somehow? It's like
with dogs, you can.
Like when my dog goes out and we get to walking 2 or 3 miles. She comes back to we get a low water bridge, and if there's water there, she
just dives in.
Yeah,
that's great. If you can have, you know, a nice pool for them to jump into, or by the creek, or take them for a walk in the park, or
sponge
something
them down
like that.
somewhere if they can't make it.
You want to use cool water. You know, if you don't have anything in your yard, if you go for a walk around took your dog for a walk around the neighborhood, and you come back and you don't have a pool or something for them to cool off in, then you know you can get a pitcher of water, cool water out of the tap, and that's good. You can use that. You don't want to use cold water right out of the refrigerator or something like that, because it could go into a shock or something like that. But
and if you have a long-haired dog, should you shave it? I mean, I'm assuming that helps a great deal, because I know a lot of people who do that. When the weather turns warm, they take them and get them.
Well, a lot of breeds that have long hair are indigenous to a colder climate.
Right. You know, and you get into
Zinger. Zinger has long hair.
I bet you he's from a colder climate.
Yeah. We had our 4-H horse show about 2 weeks ago, and one of the agents brought her Pomeranian. I believe they're kind of a little fluffy, smaller dog, and she gave it a haircut and even had a fan for it. And in some cases, you know, if you don't have, you know, some yards you'll have a hedge around your backyard or something like that, and that doesn't allow for really good air movement. So what you know we'd recommend to do is may sound kind of silly to some people, put a fan up, but at least provide shade for that animal so they can get into a shaded area, and provide cool water. A lot of times, you know, we have some 4-H kids that have projects, may it be a small animal or a large animal, to show at the fair or something like that. And the first thing I'll look for in this time of year is, do they have that water sitting out in the sun, or is it in a shaded area? And so, you know, they like to have cool water just like we do. You know, you don't want to drink hot water, and that's definitely not going to help to cool you down. So, you know, in some cases, if you have a large trough for your cattle or things like that, you can even put, you know, in some extreme cases, you could put some ice, a bag of ice into the water just to help cool it down that little bit. You know. So, and then if you get into some extreme conditions with cattle, you know, where they get into those extreme, you know, at night you'll have temperatures that are above 75, and in the day it's above 90 and 30% humidity, and that's going to get into some extreme conditions. And You know, if your cattle are really showing some signs of heat stress, such as respirations, and you know they're standing in the pond trying to cool down, different things like that, or if they don't have access to a pond, you can use other things such as misters, or you know, and if you know that you've got a drought, an extreme condition, you need to call in. You can even call in, you know, the fire department if you know that you've got 30 head of cattle out there that are fixing to fall over dead. You know, that's an emergency, and that's what those services are for. So
and the volunteer fire department too, out in the rural areas, come out and spray them down.
And a lot of those folks, I mean, they'd understand that because
they probably have them too. I never thought about calling the fire department. We haven't talked about like ticks and chiggers.
We haven't talked about ticks and chiggers?
No, I bet you take care of that stuff too, don't you?
Yeah. They, you know, you get bit and it's irritating to you, and it is to animals too, and so. You'll use different things on the market, of course, for ticks, for your pets and things like that. Anything from collars to the little drops, you know, that they use. And I would recommend, you know, talking to your veterinarian, see what they recommend, and that's what you can guarantee is going to be safe for your animal. Of course,
especially like your house pets and stuff, to routinely check them and make sure that they're free of that, because they can get tick fever.
Yeah,
right?
they can get diseases and things just like we can. You bet, and cattle can too.
And they can get sick if it's not treated. I mean, some animals have, you know, 100 or so ticks on them. You know, they can get sick really quick.
Oh, you bet.
And they can.
That's true. That's true. I've seen deer like that. I have a girlfriend who had a pet deer, and he would just be covered. Oh, it was disgusting. Disgusting. Yuck. We need to have Brian on for like a whole show.
Well, we do. And I was going to say, you really know your stuff, because you've been spouting information that we haven't even prepared you for, which is good. And what I'd like to do is maybe we can have you come back every so often.
You bet.
And we'll just pick a topic and let you just spew.
Oh,
spew your knowledge. How's that?
You are a font of information.
Yeah. Thanks, Brian.
You bet.
Appreciate it. And if you got questions that you'd like to talk to Extension Agent, you can give them a call. You can call Brian or any county.
Now, you're with Marion County?
I'm with Marion County.
So where's your office at, in Yellville?
It is in Yellville.
In the courthouse?
Well, we used to be they've moved us over into kind of behind the Marion County nursing home.
They were ashamed of you, weren't they?
I guess
the red brick building over by the nursing home.
You bet. Yeah, that's where we're at.
All right.
Thanks, Brian.
You bet. Thank you.
All right. Any more information, you call your local county extension agent, or you can call Brian down there in Marion County. Up next, we have Nancy Svehla and Peggy Wallace from the Mruk Family Center.
Stay with us. Mruk.